Hello, welcome, Alice, Braga, and Gabriel, Leone, Eduardo, and Monica. We're so thrilled to be bringing this movie to Miami as part of the world rollout of the film that's opening in Brazil. And we are playing it here at the Tower Theater, which is right behind me. We're absolutely delighted that you could join us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, so first of all, my first question is I want to talk about this famous song by Renato Russo that the movie is based on. Can you both tell me when you first remember hearing the song for the very first time and how you felt about it?
Yeah, I actually, it's funny because the first time I heard this song, it was with my mom's friend that happens to be a very talented and well-known Brazilian director called Jorge Furtado, and he's a wonderful screenwriter as well. And it was just wonderful that I got to listen with him. I remember exactly where I was and all that, and I remember him saying about the song and that he told the story about this couple. So I do remember vividly like where I was and how I heard the song. And from then on, like I just kept listening, you know, throughout my childhood and teenage time and all that. But it's a very special song.
Well, and Gabriel, I remember you sang the music at our world premiere at the Miami Film Festival. You're such an amazing singer. It added
Totally.
so much. But do you remember when you first heard the song?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Legião Urbana, the band, the the wrote the song, and actually, my parents were huge fans from the band. They went for the shows and whatnot, and actually, I started to listen from them. They used to listen to the band a lot in our home, and I don't know, since I was a child, I probably uh, heard it when I was a child. This is one of our biggest pop song ever from our music. So everybody know the song, and is one of our famous song ever. So it's I don't know when I can't remember when I listened for the first time, but since I can remember, I know this song, you know.
Yeah, it's such an epic song, and we're used to movies based on books or plays, but a movie based on a song is not a usual thing. So this is just it's an amazing film. I want to talk about your chemistry. The chemistry between you two in this movie is amazing. Just that's what makes the movie work is the two of you together. And you both played a variety of roles in your career. You've worked in different genres and films. How do you prepare for for an epic romance where you're the two of you have to make it work? How's your preparation different from other kind of roles?
I think for this one specifically, it was impossible to not be 100% connected and 100%, you know, giving hands to each other and deciding to tell the story as one. Um, I don't see Monica existing without Eduardo and Eduardo existing without Monica. And I think to create that, the moment that I met Gabriel, I was already a huge fan of his work. I was already a huge fan of him. So it was great to partner up with him and just be as admired of this younger person as much as Monica is very admired by Eduardo that is younger than her. So that partnership for me was born instantly. And I realized throughout the rehearsal process that it was so important to be connected and connected 100%. So for me, I couldn't even think of things of Monica. I wanted his opinion as an artist, as an actor, but also his point of view for the movie, for how it would be, you know, the story and the journey of these characters. So I'm really glad that you like the chemistry and that you could see that, because for us it was such an important thing, because if you don't believe in their love, you don't believe at all in their journey and in the movie. So for us, I think it was a very pivotal thing, and I'm very, very happy with it.
Gabriel, how
Yeah,
about you?
here in Brazil, we don't have a lot of romance movies. You know, we love to watch romance movies, but we don't shoot a lot of them. So we wanted to make a beautiful a beautiful romance movie, and actually I guess we did it. uh, and our partnership was as Alicia was saying, was a dream for me, because I was also a huge fan of her before we started to shoot. And uh, and then now I'm more than a fan. I love her.
Oh, that's
And we are
wonderful.
and I'm so glad that we're gonna release this film after all this pandemic times we spent. So I guess Brazil will need I guess Brazil need this kind of movie, this kind of story, talking about love after all this dark period.
Yeah, I mean, we realized coming out of the pandemic or in the pandemic what the things in life are most important to us. And I'm also very happy that this movie was reserved for the big screen, because it's epic, and we project ourselves onto the screen watching both of you. The song is from the 1980s, and the movie is set in the 1980s, and it's very refreshing to see a story without smartphones and apps and social media and
Internet, yeah.
yes, exactly. Some other apps I'm not going to mention, but Alice, I want to start with you. How do you view Monica as a woman from that time? From a time that's so really different from ours right now.
It's so funny that you mentioned the 80s, because the 80s, like if this movie was done in a different time, the story, of course it would be completely different. It's obvious to say that, but in the 80s you didn't even have like you would have to wait for someone to call. You would have to set up the time to answer the phone, and like you know what I mean. So everything is it's a different relationship between characters, and that brings something else to the movie. And so it's interesting to think that, I think for Monica, you mean Monica in the 80s? You mean like how the 80s influenced her?
Yeah, like kind of what do you think about the choices that she had in front of her at that time? I mean, it's different from a woman, now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think she's a woman ahead of her time a little bit, but at the same time, because she's very expensive, she was always like really like feminist and very much fighting for equality and the rights and all that. I think she's the type of woman, but at the same time, it was interesting to play someone that was coming off the dictatorship in Brazil, like that had that so present in her life, and like a woman. I was a teenager. I was a kid. I was born in '83. Our movie's '86, right, Gabi?
Yeah,
Yeah,
86.
'86. So '86, I was 3 years old. So it was interesting to kind of think and talk to my mom to kind of understand how it was to be 20-something-year-old in that environment on a Brazil like that, having that relationship with the dictatorship and how that shaped her as a woman, as a human being, as a as an activist, as a political person, but at the same time a very astrological person and a very sweet and kind and generous. So it was a good journey. It was I absolutely love this character. I think she's very, very unique and very special.
And you
Well,
were
you know,
made for her. You were born for her.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. You know, here in Miami,
Yeah, of
we see
course.
a lot of Brazilian movies. We watch a lot of Brazilian movies in Miami, and I can't imagine another actress other than Alice playing this character. Honestly,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you
No
so
doubt.
much.
You know what I also love about the '80s is that Monica didn't use Uber. She had a motorcycle.
She had a motorcycle. She was very independent, and no women was like. Actually, my mom had a motorcycle when in the 80s. I remember that. That's why I
Wow.
think my mom is a lot of like it's a big I think influence in Monica. But yeah, then I had to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Now I have a motorcycle because of her.
Wow.
I bought one, but
You didn't tell
mine is
me. You didn't tell
mine is.
me
I
that.
need to show you. Now I have an electric one.
Oh, you're badass. I love it.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Oh my
Can
God.
you give me a ride? Can you give me a ride?
I
I want
totally
to try.
can because I can totally like now I know how to ride with you in my back because Gabriel is
Okay.
taller than me and he's stronger than me and it's very hard to ride with someone in your back that is bigger than you because of balance. But I learned how to ride a motorcycle with him, so I miss him
Yeah.
in my back.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I want to ride too someday, someday. Gabriel, I want to ask you, you totally convinced us that you're 16 years old in this movie. And I was shocked to find out that you weren't 16. How did, how did you get yourself back into that world? I mean, you kind of have to lose some of the maturity that gained as a person to get back to that point of innocence. How did you approach that?
Yeah, it was one of the funniest and the funniest process as an actor of my career, because of the composition, because of the needs of the character. I needed to remember to uh, uh, um, to bring to my body once again the memories of my when I from when I was a teenager. So it was so funny, to to bring the memories back again to my body and to my energy. And uh, Monica rides a motorcycle, and Eduardo rides a bicycle. So I spend almost all of the time that we were shooting in Brasilia, uh, riding in a bicycle. So it was that kind of experience that the character probably had in the 80s. So it was one of the best and uh, funniest process of my career.
It's amazing, and just like Alice, I can't imagine a different Monica. I can't imagine a different Eduardo than you, Gabriel. You're perfect.
Thanks.
Tell me about working with the director of the movie, Rene Sampaio. He's got amazing energy. It's the second time that we had him at Miami Film Festival. How is he different from other filmmakers or other directors you've worked with?
It was really wonderful to work with a director that is from the city that we were filming because he knew so much from that city. He wanted so bad to kind of show the life that he had in that environment. So it was very helpful to have him uh, kind of guiding us through what kind of childhood or kind of teenage time he had
Yeah.
into that environment. So it was really nice. And he's a very, like you said, energetic, like very passionate. He really wanted to do this film. So it was really wonderful to have that energy around us as a filmmaker. Right.
And Brasilia is our capital, is a city known for the government and for sadly for corruption and whatnot. So he wanted to change a little bit the image from Brasilia, because it's also a beautiful city and he grew up there. So he wanted to to show Brazil in a different way, in a different point of view.
Is it a city that kind of is, I mean, it's very different from, of course, the more famous international cities like, you know, Rio and Sao Paulo. Do you think that these characters, Eduardo and Monica, are very universal to Brazil, or are they just very specific to Brazil yet? How do you see that?
Do you want to say, Gabby?
No, no, go on.
I think they're very universal in a way because of the time, and I think because people know so much this song here in Brazil. It's such a famous song, liking or not, this band. It's a cultural thing in Brazil that everybody knows. So I think they're universal, but I think the idea that they live in Brasilia at that time, it brought so much to the characters that it specified their relationship with the world, the environment that they lived in. I think if it was the 80s in Rio, it would be completely different. Maybe their relationship, or maybe Eduardo would be a different boy. Brasilia was a very young
Specific city.
Very specific and very young. Brasilia was built in the 50s, so it was just a 30-year-old. It was almost Monica's age, Brasilia.
Yeah.
So it was a very different environment for you to live in as a 16-year-old boy, or as a, you know, young woman, 20-something-year-old. So I think that brought a lot to the storyline, to the characters, each in, you know, in their individuality. But I think if it was set in Rio, it would change the course of the movie. But no matter what, I think they're still universal characters. And even going further than that, it's interesting how the movie speaks, like, for example, we're talking with you and the movie touched you in a way. It's so interesting that it is a Brazilian movie, it is a Brazilian story, it is a Brazilian music, but it's universal because the theme is very universal. It is a movie about love, about differences, about partnership, about, there's so many different layers that are universal in the film, that it could be a story that would happen in the 80s in, I don't know, in Ohio, or in, do you know what I mean? Like in a city
India.
that is not. I thought about Miami, but Miami in the 80s was very much like New York, very party town. So it cannot be Miami.
Yeah, Miami in the 80s is a whole different world. Oh.
It was a whole different. I was going to say Miami, and I'm like, no, Miami in the 80s was very specific.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Good point.
But the movie is it's not about a fairy tale. It's about the real love, you know, love, dealing with differences and problems, and
Exactly.
So real love is a universal theme. So that's why I guess any audience around the world can connect with our movie and be touched by it.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you, when you were filming the movie, did you have a favorite scene? Was there a scene that you particularly enjoyed to shoot?
It's so funny because we were just talking about this with someone else, that for
It's
me,
hard to choose one.
it's hard to choose one. And normally, like, there are films that you make that you're like, no, that scene was great to shoot, or that scene had that. And I think this movie, there's so many special moments in it that I cannot remember like one specific, I can remember many, but I think there are, without giving spoilers and all that, but I think there are special different moments that they live together, which
I just
really
remembered.
Go ahead.
No, I just remembered one scene that was so funny to shoot. The one of the shadows. And
yes, and actually we shot in a place that nobody's allowed. Actually, like it's amazing that we're able to do it. The Congress. So nobody's allowed to go in. Yeah, it's a beautiful scene.
Yeah,
we had so much fun that day. Can you remember?
Yeah, it was amazing.
You can feel it. Oh my God, that's amazing. You know, now the movie's coming out, and it's this song, as you talked about right at the beginning of our conversation, you know, it lives and it's so big in Brazilian culture, and it exists in the imagination of so many people. And now it's going to be supplemented with, you know, images from a film. How do you think the new generation is going to respond to the song and to the legacy? How is this movie going to revive the song, or is it something that's just so present that it doesn't even factor in?
The Legião Urbana, the band, the band of the song, is a band that constantly is renewing their public. So the band doesn't exist anymore, but they are always renewing, I guess, especially because of the lyrics from Renato Russo, that was the lead singer and the composer and the lyricist of all the songs. He was actually a poet. So I don't know, I guess anybody can connect with their songs, because the songs were at the same time poetry, but also very popular. So they're always renewing their public. So I guess the movies was made for people that lived that time at the 80s, and people that there are fans, but also for, you know, boys and girls that are discovering love, and also the band, the music's from the band. So I guess it's for everybody.
Yeah, I'm now listening to this music in my car.
Oh my God!
There's
Yeah.
something
You
so
should listen
magical
to,
about the movie that
you know what, the song Eduardo and Monica is from, it's from my favorite Legião Urbana's album. You should listen to the whole album. I guess
I
you
will,
would
I
like it.
absolutely will. And you know, there's this great band in Miami that sings their music, and
The one that I sang with, the one
yeah,
that I
the
sang
one
with.
that we brought to the world premiere. I remember we wanted to make it a surprise for Renee. You know, we wanted him to just walk
Yeah, I
into the
remember.
auditorium and hear this band playing. But somehow they posted on Instagram that they were going to be doing this, and
Yeah,
then they started getting
so
questions from the producer, like, "What's going on?" Like, so
yeah.
I had to spill the secret, but it was still great. I think we're out of time. So I'm really thank you both so much for speaking with us here in Miami today. I'm so delighted for the movie, and I just congratulate you again. It's this is really a new classic in Brazilian cinema, and I know it's going to live in our memories for a long, long time. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much. It's a pleasure
Jay.
to meet you.
Hope to see you soon again.
Yes, please. You're always welcome in Miami, Miami Film Festival and Tower Theater. Always.
Amazing. Thank you.
All right. Be well.
You too. Be well.
You
Take
too.
care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.